Huh? Of course, and now you're going to come with like a short paragraph and have 3/4 of the page be white? I don't know. I'm surprised at how many students do that, though, quite honestly. I give you this delightful opportunity, and students come in with, 2 formulas on a big sheet of paper. Sir, you had a question. I did. Anything you can write. I mean, notes to mom, I don't know, whatever you want. It absolutely can be typed. I would suggest a readable font, though. It's distracting. I have had a student once type it in such a small font that they really required a magnifying thing to read it, and that just proved cumbersome. And I've also had a student in the past laminate it, bring a laminated cheat sheet to an exam, and then discovered it was very unhandy for adding last minute. I mean, this person, almost had to use a pocket knife to scratch in, their last minute notes that they wanted on it. So I wouldn't suggest laminating, but it absolutely can be typed. But I would suggest a reasonable font. Yes, ma'am. You do not turn in the cheat sheet. In fact, I would encourage you to keep it, because it then proves useful in answering some of Dr. Fessler's random questions. Right? It's a very handy place that you've put a lot of information. I would suggest keeping it, because there are times when you can just, I know this is on my cheat sheet. And then you pull that out. It's a lot easier to find than flipping through pages to try and answer one of Dr. Fessler's questions. Okay? Wow, nobody's asked how many questions, Dr. Fessler?
How many questions?
30. Each worth 5 points apiece, for a grand total of 150 points, which hopefully matches what's on the syllabus. Does it?
Yes.
Okay. No Scantron, big cheat sheet, 30 questions, show off. Perfect scores are a lot easier to grade than, the alternative.
Since these are 5 points each, if we show work and we get it wrong because of a math problem, that doesn't help us?
It doesn't help you.
Okay.
Sir?
It would take forever to grade.
It would. That's why you do multiple choice. And if you move on to, that's how the CPA exam and CMA exam are graded. And so you may or may not want to be an accountant when you grow up, but nonetheless, there are people in the room who do want to be accountants when they grow up, and so I have to train them too. Yes, ma'am. You can do the problems on the what? On the question, yeah, on the test? Absolutely. In fact, I photocopy it one-sided, so you have the backs of all the sheets of paper, okay, to use. And you can tear things apart if you really feel like that would be helpful, because I have my friendly neighborhood stapler with me, and I will have it with me next class period. Yes, sir?
Is one chapter focused on more heavily than another one?
What I tend to do now, I can't say that I'm perfect when I do this, right? I can't say, I know that, but one of the things I really think about when I'm constructing a test is how much have I emphasized stuff in class as I've taught it, okay? And so I can't say that I'm perfect at doing that, but it's certainly one of the things I'm thinking about. If I've talked about it in class a lot, then it's more likely to be tested than other stuff, okay? And so in general, I think I'm gonna try to hit most of the stuff I've taught you, okay? Is that okay? You're gonna be ready, right? Yeah. Exactly. Anybody else? Are we ready to start reviewing? Anthony, does that get all your questions? Tyler? You got all your questions answered? Yeah. Are we ready to review? Okay, Brandon, ready to review? Well, let's review then. Oh, let me do one more thing because I told you I would tell you one of the things that you need to know that we have not covered in class, okay? The standards of ethical conduct for management accountants. Standards of ethical conduct for management accountants. It was probably part of a homework assignment, okay? It was probably part of a homework assignment because I try to assign that as a homework assignment, but you need to know the standards of ethical conduct for management accountants. Right? You got that written down?
No, I missed it, sorry.
I've said it twice! The standards of ethical conduct for management accountants. Standards of ethical conduct for management accountants. How many times must I say it? A lot? Yes. I said, I most of the times I try to say management, but managerial, management, they're basically synonyms. So you're going to want to know all the stuff all the terms we've talked about in class, because this particular exam, certainly this particular content is a little term heavy, if you will, because our first day of class was basically terms, right? Nothing but words. And so I hold you responsible for everything I've taught you in class, and I also hold you responsible for the content of the homework problems I've assigned, okay? And then other than that, I mean, if there's stuff in the book that we didn't cover, you know, that's stuff you don't really need to worry about. And I usually test every day's class material, so we've talked about that. Okay. So what content do we learn? Kind of topically, what content? Megan, can you name one of the areas, one of the things, one of the sets of stuff we've learned this semester so far? You can look at the syllabus. That might be a helpful place to look. Have we talked about that already? No, not yet. That's next exam. That's something to look forward to. Cost, volume, profit relationships. What was the first thing we talked about this semester, Katie? Yeah, what is accounting? That was the very first question I asked you. That's very good. After the review, because really I think the very first question I asked somebody in class was, what's a debit? On the first day of class. Ekta, do you remember what a debit is? Very good, the left side of a T account. And so, but in general, what do we talk about per the syllabus? Terms and flows, right? Cost terms on the Thursday, and then the following Tuesday, what did we talk about, Holden? Your syllabus still is not. Although she's willing to share. Cost flows. The T accounts, right? The T accounts. How many T accounts were there, Nick? 7, the Magnificent Seven. The Magnificent Seven. Unfortunately, most of you are too young to realize that that's the name of a movie, an Academy Award-winning movie. And so if you were older, that'd be really easy to remember. But, you know, have you seen it, Anthony? It's a very good movie. I mean, at the time, it was kind of like the Expendables of its time, in the sense that, in the sense that there were a lot of incredibly well-known actors who played in it. The 7, and they were all 7 big-name actors at the time. Is the Expendables any good? Has anybody seen it? Nah. Bad plot, lots of boom. I mean, that's most action movies anymore, though, isn't it? I mean, that describes, lots of boom, bad plot. Good.